Today I want to talk about something that is super important to anyone who works at Amdahl Hearing, and that is verifying that those hearing aids that you just bought are actually working. And the main method that we are using is something called real ear testing or live speech mapping. So a couple of questions here. One is, what is it? And two, why do we need it? And I always like to start with the why we need it. You know, most of the time people think of a hearing aid as a device that puts the right amount of power in your ear and you just hear better. Which, you know, outside of the fact that we do need to program it appropriately, there's also the question of how do we know that the sound getting to your eardrum is exactly what we want? And the best way I can explain those differences is to relate something that I used to do when I was a kid, which is my first musical instrument was either a toilet paper tube or a paper towel tube, or if we were real lucky, that wrapping paper tube. And the cool thing about that is that when you would make noise through that tube, your voice would sound different on the other end. And that is absolutely true when we put a sound into our ear. It changes by the time it gets to your eardrum. And the reason that it's different for every person is that every person has a different length ear canal. Everybody has a different diameter. There are different twists and turns. Heck, even the amount of fat and cartilage lining that can make a huge difference. So I've seen people when we measure it who have a significant difference even between right and left ears on the same exact head. So it's really important that we take those measurements. So the second question then becomes, how do we do it? And it's a pretty simple measurement. What we end up doing is we put a little probe microphone, a very flexible microphone, right down next to your eardrum. It doesn't hurt at all, tickles a little bit. And we measure the amount of power using a known signal, usually some kind of a speech signal or some kind of a warble tone. And the sound is compared at the level of the ear and at the level of the eardrum. And then we have the ability through programming to make the exact changes that we need so that we know exactly what sound is getting there. Super important to make sure that you're getting the sound so that you know what you're hearing. The other thing that we can do that's very helpful is we can actually use someone's voice. So if there's a particular voice, usually a spouse or a loved one, that people are really having problems with, we can use that exact voice, measure it, and make sure you're getting the best opportunity to hear it. So real ear testing, live speech mapping, super important in the verification of whether or not your hearing aids are working. If you haven't had it done, come on in and get it done because it'll make a big difference. Hey, I'm Kevin from Amdahl Hearing. Thanks so much for joining me today. If you like the content that you're seeing, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you'd like to continue to get content like this, go ahead and subscribe to our channel and you'll keep getting that content. If you have questions for me, go ahead and send me an email at info@amdahlhearing.com, or you can find us at amdahlhearing.com. Again, I'm Kevin from Amdahl Hearing. Thanks so much for stopping by. Hope to see you again real soon.